Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 22 here in the pristine, untouched wilderness of the Calmlands. So, Mummy Pig, she'd be lying there and the nurse the piglets, and then if they weren't sleepy, if they were kind of like a little bit sort of frisky, it was normally in the afternoon, they'd have a nap at lunchtime and then they'd start jumping around a bit. Well, she liked to have a nap in the afternoon. So she would, it was almost human. Like the piglets would be jumping around and she's lying on her side, and then it would just be sort of a really annoyed grunt. She'd stand up, piglets would fall off of her, and then she'd wander over and climb into the little pen on the side where the piglets couldn't get. They simply could not physically climb over the board. And she'd go in there and she'd lie down and start going to sleep. The piglets would come over to it. They'd start sticking their noses up over the board and like squealing through a little bit. It's like, Mum, where you going, Mum? And there would just be this sort of loud, annoyed grunt from the pig and nothing. And then she would just go to sleep and ignore them completely. And it's almost human. It was absolutely wonderful. You'd watch her do that. I'd never actually seen her do it very much. I only seen her do that like once or twice. But very often I'd go in there and she would be asleep in the bit inside, so she'd be having a nap. But I never seen her move in there once or twice. It was so funny. It was absolutely brilliant. It's just, this mother is just like, I have had it to the back teeth with you lot constantly squabbling and fighting. That's it. I'm going for a nap. I'm just... deal with it on your own. No, I don't care if he pulled your tail. Deal with it yourself. I didn't see anything. I'm not interested. And then she would wander off, and it was up to the kids to deal with their own arguments. So then they'd go off and play. But it was just the, you could feel the annoyed grunt, like that grunt that she gave when the piglets were sticking their noses over the board, sort of squealing at her a little bit. There was just this noise, and you could feel it in the depths of your soul. That was every parent on the planet all combined into one piggy grunt saying, go away and leave me alone. Right now, I fully understand, I fully feel connected with all of the animals across the planet that eat their own young. Understand this or leave. It's your choice. And yeah, you could feel that. You could read. You could feel the vibe coming from her. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I just moving back up to the top here, and we'll set the hide help going again. I will run the tractor up over and we'll empty out again, and then we could actually go and get the baler hooked on, ready to roll. If I bring this one up here, should... actually, I need to put the hide help going there, I think. Got to make sure it's straight. This goes off at a funny angle. That one's going to go up across the field there, and he should go all the way up to the other end now and keep all the straw going as well. And we can go and get the baler, and we can just... so we'll sort of do a little bit of the edges there, and then we can start working on the rest. So he's going to go there, lift out, and go on forward a bit more. Shouldn't try and turn around now because it's not a full combine width. And drop down here. There we go. Alright. Okay, I was actually going to go and chase this one and empty out on this run. We'll have to let him go all the way back up to the other end. Then we can empty out. And it'll also give us a little bit more straw on the ground as well. It's not going to hurt. 4,000 litres. That's excellent. So we'll go over here, and while that one's turning around, we can chase up through. There's 5,200 litres of barley in there. You know, I'm thinking we didn't actually need to buy as much for the chickens. What have we got in for them? They've still got 2,500 litres in there. Alright. Problem we're going to have now is the balance between how much do we give the chickens and how much do we save back for pigs. I'm thinking, actually, we shouldn't have any problems because we're already We got 5,200 here. The grain tank is filling up, so that's going to be 10,400 litres at least. That one come out so it doesn't smash into the cab. It's really inconvenient when the auger of the combine hits your tractor. Like, it causes problems and is generally frowned upon by everybody that you work with. They don't like it. Some strange reason, farm managers, the farm owners, that they don't like it if you allow the combine auger to crunch into your tractor. I don't understand why. Doesn't really make any sense. It's sort of it's modern art thing. Okay, maybe not. I think if you allowed it to happen and you said, tried explaining to the farmer, well, actually it's fine because it's just modern art. I don't think you'd be employed for very much longer. If you do something like that, you got to bear in mind that you've just caused several £1,000s worth of damage. You've got to at least you've got to master the art of at least pretending to sound sorry. Because if you can't at least pretend to sound sorry, you're also not going to be able to pretend to keep your job. I did, didn't I? I did! You've no idea what I'm talking about at the moment, do you? Talking in code. Right. I did. I definitely did. I removed that bit there. I removed the grass. Absolutely 100% I removed the grass. All the way up through here, I removed that grass. And then reloading the game has regenerated that grass all the way up through here. I don't know if it's reloading the game or if it's season change, but that grass is regenerated. And I painted over it and I got rid of it. I know, I'm not going crazy. I'm not going crazy. I don't think I'm going crazy. I'm sure I know I did. Because I got other textured grass right in the middle. I did do it. I did. I'm telling you I did do that. And now it's all grown back again. Making me look like I'm a lunatic. We now have 12,960 grain in here. So potentially I could put the entire harvest of grain in here without any issues. I'm not going to, though. The rest of the grain that we get... See, you know, we do have a track that runs over here, so I don't think it would be unusual for us to sort of just drive through this bit. I think that would be fine. And I'll come back up this way. And then I want to come over here. So I'm gonna, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the trailer all the way up to the end of the field. And for a minute, I'm going to stop it there. I might actually get the other tractor to pull the trailer around. I don't know yet. But we want to go and get the baler. So while that combine is working there, we can run off and we can get the baler. And we can bring that one out to the field and start baling up the straw. So that we're then able to just get ahead on this little job rather nicely. Because this is one job that we've got to do ourselves, so it takes longer. Now, I kept the rake over there because I was thinking that, you know, we would do some work putting the two rows into one on a fairly regular basis. So far, I haven't done that. I've done no twoing into oneing on the rows of straw, and I don't think I will be either. I'm going to start out over here, so I want to unfold that one. So we could go and sell that thing. And we wouldn't be losing out. Like, I potentially might want to use it going around the outside edge of the field here and there if we've made a particularly bad pig's ear of a job of getting the straw laid out. But generally, it seems to be doing quite well. So I don't really think that we've got a need for it. Which means if we haven't got a need for that one... It's money sitting there slowly. I mean, it's not a lot of money. We get like 800 euros from it in total. There won't be much more than that. But that's going to help our wage bill quite a lot in the next couple of months. Because we got a lot of work that we need to do. and we've only got 800 euros, and I prefer it if we can avoid selling the eggs, because there's other things that we need to be able to do as well. I want to get the market garden, the open air garden, not market garden, the open air garden as quickly as we can, so that we can start growing some, whatever they're called. You know the things, the sweet things, the sugar beet, We want to grow sugar beet. Okay, right. If I just pick that one up a second, turn it off as well. This around here, and then we'll start up again. Just need to make sure the bales stay away from the crop that we've got at the moment, because otherwise the combine is going to struggle when it tries to turn around. And it's got a nearly full grain tank. So we can either unhitch the baler and run over and empty him out. He's actually got to get back up across the field now. There's no point in worrying about it just for a second. So we'll hijack the combine when he gets down the other end, and we'll manually tip it into the trailer, and then he can carry on again. There isn't enough crop to fill the trailer, which means that we don't actually have enough grain to completely fill the chicken pen. So we definitely want to keep the second lot back for making some pig food, because if we don't, I think we're going to end up getting in a bit of trouble with that. Alright, he's on around the corner here, and I forgot to reset the bale counter. Current bale's 440. Well, we'll just have to have a look when we get the other bit. Let's take you to there, shall we? Right. That's all good there. The combine is on 99%, so let's skip over to him a second. It's going to stop right there. So we didn't actually make it down to the end of the field. I'll reverse up there a little bit. Alright, now, one thing I'm curious about, can I tow that trailer with the combine? I don't think I can. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to drop that in it. Now, if you are a little bit clever with the combine when you're unloading, you put it going like that, and this spout is a little bit shorter. Some combines, the spout is like just long enough that as you drive the combine round in a circle, the spout, the end of the spout basically stays still. So you can drive right round a trailer or a truck, wherever you might be tipping, and you can unload as you turn your vehicle round, ready to go herring off back across the field again, which is quite a useful little trick. But what I want to know is that going to fit? I'm going to say no. Leave that one. It's going to end up getting very, very messy if we're not careful. So we'll go back over this way again. Is that going to fill the combine up and then have a bit more left over afterwards, or not? I don't know. Let's move this way. Line that one up, and off you go! Right. That's looking pretty good. We got Sen working away in the combine there. That means that we need to go back to the baling. Do a little bit over here. I'll just get that little tiny bit. So I'm going to tidy up these couple of little pieces on the end, and then we can start working the longer land work. And we also need to move that trailer, so probably better if we try and use the other tractor to do that. And we haven't got to unhitch this one. Not that it's any effort. See, in-game, it is no effort at all to unhitch, but in real life, it's definitely worth the bother of going to get the other tractor, because this one's already hitched onto the baler. And the hitching and the unhitching process can take a while. I mean, for a small baler like this, it wouldn't be too much of a thing. It would be a very quick process. For a very big baler, sometimes that can take, when I say a minute or two, I mean, you're looking at maybe 10 minutes to unhitch, because you've got to set it right. You've got to release all the pressures and everything that you might have with the oil lines. I mean, everything is different, but time you set the jack, set down the jack properly, and then unhitch the brake lines, the air line, the hydraulic lines, and so on, and get the PTO off, And sometimes that's the difficult bit, is getting the PTO shaft to come off, because they don't always come off easily, especially on the bigger stuff. You can have a little bit of a struggle trying to like just pull the PTO shaft out. If you can do that all right, then yeah, you can have a quick turnaround. But sometimes the PTO shaft can get a little bit stuck on the bigger machines, and that, you know, it just makes life a little bit more interesting. But because of where I parked the trailer, we may not need to worry about moving it for a second. And just carry on baling. It would be rather nice if we can do that. I'd like to get the baling finished as the combine finishes as well. I haven't done much of this. Oh, I was asking if people before have used a small baler like that, and quite a few of you have. I was quite surprised with the responses in the comment section. There is quite a number of you that have used an over-under small baler like this, rather than this, you know, the older side pickup ones. Because I've only ever used a side pickup one. I haven't done very much, not with small bales. Big bales I've done a lot. I've done quite a large number of hours of running a big baler, but I mean, that was a long time ago, and the technology on big balers has advanced quite considerably. The last time I rode in a tractor with someone else doing big baling, they were traveling down the windrow, which would have been about as thick as what I would have been picking up when I was doing the baling, but they were moving along at probably about double the speed that I would have been doing my baling at. And I can remember being extremely impressed with the technology that had gone into the baler that allowed you to travel at double the speed that I used to go across the field. And it may not have been quite double. It certainly felt fast. Like, you spend 1,000 hours driving a machine a certain way, and then you jump into a machine that is almost the same and find that they're driving it at, you know, at least 50% faster, probably close to double. It does make a huge, huge difference. Oh, hang on. Real life interrupted for a second there, and the combine's actually full. Let me just bring that one up around here. Right. I'm going to go and finish this row, and then we will deal with the combine, and then the combine can sort of finish the last bit that it needs to do. And we will do round the outside edge of the field, and then we can start doing the rest. I don't remember how many bales we had off this field when we did the oats in here, so I don't know. Like, the comparison-wise, I'm not quite sure what it's going to work out at, but I'm hoping that we... Because I think it was like 1 or 2 bales short of a full load of straw. So it would be nice if we had something similar, but at the same time, I don't necessarily want to have quite that much. Let's leave you going there a second. And... right. I'll do that. And I'm just going to run back over to the trailer again. This is not an unusual thing to do. To run over to the trailer. I have done this personally several times in my life. I did only spend one summer driving a combine. I did sort of like the odd hour or two in other summers, like just doing a bit of a relief work for it, but it was literally like an hour every 3 or 4 days. I'd sit on the combine and drive it, and I really, really loved it, and I always wished that I could do more. And then the summer that I spent driving the combine, I absolutely loved that. It was fantastic. Long hours, you get really tired and so on, but at the same time it was great. I genuinely loved doing that, and I would really love to be able to do it again. However, I don't want to do the kind of hours that was needed for it because of, you know, personal life. So I'm not going to be able to do that again, and it's one of those situations where you know it's something that you would really love to be able to do, but you don't want to do it for the amount of time that is required if you're going to do it for a full-time job. So it's like, I'm sure there's plenty of you who've got situations like that. Tell me about them. I want to hear about these. Well, actually, you know what I'm going to do? A second. I'm just going to move that one over. So he's definitely got enough of a return swath, just in case it gets a bit narrower up the other end. Do it like that. It's better. Yeah, is there any jobs or anything that any of you've got, or jobs that you've had in the past that you'd like to be able to do again, but you don't because the hours required to actually be able to do that job are quite high, or just conditions for working? Like, you enjoy doing the task itself, but there's a lot of things associated with it that make it a very difficult decision to make, or just mean that it's not even a difficult decision to make. You're not going to go back and do that. You're not going to do that again because of associated conditions. I'm not going to go drive a combine for a living any summer because of the associated conditions. It's not that it's unpleasant work. It's not. It's absolutely fantastic. It is purely down to the hours that are required to be able to do it. I'm not willing to put in those hours. I don't want to. I have other commitments that are more important to me, so I don't want to put in that time to operate the combine. Even though I would really, really love to be able to drive a combine for those kinds of hours, and do that again for a summer. It'd be fantastic. It'd be absolutely amazing. And I would genuinely love every minute of it like I did last time round. But I can't, because there's other things that I want more. And there's always going to be situations like that. So tell us in the comments, if you've got something that you don't mind sharing about, is there anything in particular that you would really, really love to be able to go and do? Something that you've done in the past, so you've had some experience with it, but you just know that with present circumstances of your life, you're just not going to be able to do it. It's not a feasible course of action to be able to do it at all. It's simply not an option. It's always interesting to hear what people want to do, and what some people want to do but can't for various reasons. I mean, I know someone that really loves working in forestry work, but they can't do it. If they had their way, they would spend the next 10 years working as a forestry worker and driving things like those, the big tree harvesters, like the Scorpion and that you got in the game here, but they can't. And the reason they can't is because of not only the hours that are required for it, but where they live, there isn't really any jobs going like that. You might get the temporary work every so often doing something like that, but other than that, there's just no work available. So the only way that they could do that is if they were to go away, and they might be able to find a job where they go away for during the week and harvest trees, and then they go home at the weekend. But there's nowhere near us where you've got that on any kind of larger scale. So they'd have to be available to travel just about anywhere in the country, and then they would have to stay away for the entire week before they could return home at the weekend, and they don't want to do that. And that's purely the reason that they don't go and drive these machines. I would love to have the chance to drive one of those. The reason that I don't do it is because I have zero experience in it whatsoever, which means I'd have to start on the bottom rung and work my way up to being able to drive a tree harvester, which means that I would have to spend probably 5 or 10 years working in forestry work before I even got anywhere near a tree harvester. And to be able to do that, I'd have to be away from home for a long period of time to be able to do it. And I don't want to do that either. Plus, I don't want to do the hours. That's a long time. I'm over 40 now. I'm old. I'm lazy. I don't want to do that. I'm quite happy doing what I do. But yeah, so there's just little things like that. There's also one of the other reasons that I would probably struggle with doing forestry work is that I've always enjoyed doing carpentry, doing woodwork and that, but I can't do anything now that creates any sawdust because I seem to have developed some kind of intolerance, allergy type situation to sawdust. if I breathe in sawdust in any way, shape or form, whether it be from a chainsaw, from sanding, from just, you know, sawing wood or anything, if I breathe in any of the sawdust, I get really, really horrific headaches. Like, they can last for a couple of days. I guess you'd class it as a migraine. Really deeply unpleasant. It is not a nice experience at all. But that is purely from the wood dust that causes that. And I've looked into it a little bit, and apparently this is not an uncommon thing. That I'm not alone in this. It is a thing that is known and does happen among people that do woodwork. And the sawdust, it can sort of like give a cumulative reaction. It builds up over time and will slowly get worse. So if I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. I wouldn't be able to handle a chainsaw, because if I breathe in that dust, then suddenly I'm going to have a crippling headache for 2 or 3 days, and I'm not going to be able to do anything. And that does generally make things a little bit more difficult. It's not an inconvenience to me like that. The reason that I don't like it is because I've often done quite a bit of woodwork, like you know, wood turning and that, making bowls on a lathe, that kind of thing. Well, not so much bowls. I tend to make other things, mostly little trinkets and stuff like that, and decorations. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Doing that, unless I'm wearing a really sort of high-tech breathing apparatus to really make sure that I can't breathe in any dust at all, I get headaches by doing it. And on top of that, if I have enough fine wood dust going on my skin from doing something like wood turning, I still end up getting headaches. So I'd have to wear, pretty much I gotta wear a hazmat suit or I get headaches. And there's other aspects of woodwork that I can still do. So like it's now meant that I'm not able to do some of the woodwork that I used to do, but there are still some bits I can do. So I've got sets of carving chisels, you know, like different wood gouges and so on for hand carving, and I can do that because that just generates wood shavings. That doesn't generate dust, and it's fine dust. That's the bit that causes me the problems, and that's it's taken a bit to get used to. It's not been an easy thing for me to accept that something that I have loved doing in the past so much is now no longer available to me, and it's something that has caused me some difficulties, you could say, and it's gonna cause, like, this not something that's going to be unusual. Like anybody who's got something that they've enjoyed doing in the past, it's going to be difficult for you to deal with, like, finding out that suddenly you can't do that anymore. So it's not a surprise, but being that I'm one of those people that lives with depression, unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.